Hey everyone, so I'm going to be here talking about my journeys through Discworld so far. I just started Discworld I think last year. Well, now it's 2023, so sort of 2 years ago. And I am just finishing my fifth book. I only have like 20 pages left. But I couldn't wait to do this video because I'm so excited about it. So I'm just going to talk about what most people talk about, but just from my perspective, where I started, how it's been going, what I think about the world and everything. Okay? So the huge debate in Discworld is where to start. So I started with Mort and Reaper Man as kind of a duology, and it was a great place to start. Death is one of the most hilarious characters, which just sounds weird if you haven't read the Discworld series, but I'm kind of assuming that you are reading or you want to read it. But Death is basically the personification of death, and he basically doesn't want to do it anymore and he wants to be human. So the first book here, Mort, is about him getting an apprentice and to help him out with the work, and how the apprentice, he didn't teach the apprentice right, and he gave the apprentice too much responsibility, and so he messes up the world. And Reaper Man is about Death Takes a Holiday, and how that messes up the world too. So those two were just an amazing introduction to the world, and I think it is a great place to start. Not the best place, but a really great place. The nice thing about Discworld is there aren't that many places that are wrong to start. I've heard of people starting with Hogfather, which is the fifth in a series, and it didn't mess up anything. I think all of these books, except for like one or two, are pretty much standalone, so you really can start anywhere. So I've heard people start with Hogfather and they love the world. Mort, I think Guards though is the place where I would recommend to start. It's a fantastic book and it really explains things because it's early enough in the Discworld life that I think Guards is an amazing place to start. I wouldn't really start with the equals rights. We'll get into that when we get to that one. So the next one I read was Guards after I did the two death books. So I did Guards. Like I said, I think it's the best place to start. It was so funny. It had engaging characters. It explained the world well. It gave you enough of the world with not giving you too much of the world so that you really could understand, and it has like a great mystery plot, which really makes the pacing a lot better than some books. These two were great, but they didn't have the best pacing. I think Guards has way better pacing. So I think that is where I would recommend to start. Not that I'm an expert in anything. Like I said, I've only done 5 books. So go to the experts for that kind of thing. I'm just telling you from my perspective. And then I read Equal Rights. Like I said, I would not recommend starting here. It wasn't the best of Discworld, but I liked it because it was the first time really that we weren't in the city. I forget how to say it. It's like Onkport or Ockmortport. So I liked it because it was a little bit more travel. You got to see the world a little bit more. And you got to see the wizards a little bit more. So I really, really liked it, but not as a beginning. I think it's better as a continuation, just broadening the world just a little. And right now I'm reading Hogfather, and I'm almost done with it, and it is just a blast. I can see why it would hook someone. I wouldn't start with it because there are things from the Death series that are talked about a lot. Like there's when Death was taking a holiday, things were still dying or needed to die, so it like created the death of rats, and you can kind of see him. He's right here. I don't know if he's too little for you to see, so he's the death of rats, and he's in this as a main character, which sounds weird, but it is absolutely hilarious. So he like is the one responsible for killing rats, and it's just so funny how he talks and squeaks, but then like other characters can like translate it. It's just great bit. So this one is just a continuation of the Death series, but it's like later on. Yes, I do know for all the Discworld people, I do know that I skipped a Death book. That was completely accidental. It was just because it was around Christmas, so I wanted to read Hogfather because it's like Christmassy. Um, so that's where I'm at right now. These are the 5 that I've read. So just going into like positives and negatives. So like, is this series right for you? So is the series right for you? First of all, if you like humor, yes, it's the series for you. If you like absurdism, yes, it is the series for you. If you like Alice in Wonderland, yes, read this book. Like I said, Death is an amazing character. The characters in Guards are amazing. Hogfather is kind of the same cast, just a couple extra. And the characters in Equal Rights are awesome too. I've heard some people don't like the main character in Equal Rights, but I did. I liked her a lot. There are a lot of different magic systems. There are magic systems of witches. There are magic systems of wizards. There are magic systems of gods and how they all work differently, and demigods and that kind of thing. And they're all different magic systems, which I love that kind of thing. And I just love the mechanics of the world and his world building. Like I said, how death works is so interesting. How like he has the death of rats is just so interesting. And just in general, his world building is absolutely amazing. But a couple of things that would tell you if this world is not right for you. If you are the kind of person who needs everything in your book explained, every little tiny detail explained, this might not be the book for you, because he might just be doing something for comedic purposes. And he might not explain everything right away. He might just like leave it for another book. So if you need everything explained, this might not be the best pick for you. If you don't get or you don't like British humor, this is not the book series for you. If you don't know, Sir Terry Pratchett is British, and he has very like Monty Python-esque humor. So if you don't like British humor, this might not be the series for you. He does sometimes like take little story breaks where he will take a pause in the story at large and then go into like a little side world building bit, which is funny. So for example, he does a bit in Reaper Man where he talks about how trees, because they grow so slowly and they're so old, their lifespans are so long that the world is just like speeding by them, and it's like comparing time for a tree comparatively to time for humans or to a bug or to other things that don't live as long. So it's just a very interesting like little side rant that he goes on. And so some people might not like that break in the story pace. I like it because I love the world, and I think it's just brilliant that I get to like have a little pause and then like just live in the world for a second and then go back to my story. But some people might be annoyed with that. The last thing I will say is the only thing that actually annoys me is that there are footnotes. And the footnotes are there almost solely for comic relief, not really to explain anything to you. And that kind of bugs me. That is my only negative about the series. You can tell from the rest of this video, I've been ranting. I love this series to death. It's so cozy, it's so fun. It's such a great break from my ginormous like 1,000-page fantasies that I've been reading. These ones are like 200 to 400 pages, and they're just such a breath of fresh air. The only thing I dislike are the footnotes, and that's just like a pet peeve of mine. But it's not to the point where I'm not going to read the series just because he has footnotes in them. And the last thing that might bother some people is that there aren't chapters. It's not like a book with chapters in it. It just has like perspective breaks. So it'll have like a little blank line, and then it'll like have that break and then a new perspective. So I just use those as chapters, so that doesn't bother me at all. So if it bothers you, I kind of understand, but like it's just I like it because it's unique, honestly. So that's all my like thoughts about Discworld. Like I said, I'm only 5 through. I'm a little Discworld noob. So just let me know if I got anything wrong in the comments below. But I wanted to share what I'm gonna read next. Next, I'm gonna read Men at Arms. This one's kind of a crazy cover, but it's the next in this series, the Guard series. I think it's called the Night Watch series, is like the little sub-series that they call it. Men at Arms. And then I'm gonna read Going Postal. Going Postal is the one that, just from the synopsis, interests me the most. But it's like way later in the timeline, so I like didn't think I should read it yet, but I'm gonna read it soon. Because again, you can really read these in any order. And then Small Gods is the other little standalone. This one is like a complete standalone. It's not in any of like these series. So these are like 3 different series within Discworld. So this is the Night Watch series, this is the Death series, this is also the Death series, and this one is Witches series. And then there's a Wizard series that I haven't even started. So this one is like not in any of those. So that's my plans for Discworld. I really hope that y'all will come along with me on the journey. I'll give like updates when I finish books and let you know how it's going. And if you have any questions about Discworld, I'm not the one to ask, but you can ask me because I do research on things that I read. So I do know more about the world. I just like haven't put it in here because I'm not an expert. But yeah, let me know in the comments below if you've read Discworld and how many have you read, because now I'm up to 5. Oh, so amazing. Yeah, there are 41, so I'm only an 1/8 of the way through. So I'm having so much fun though. I hope y'all will join me. Bye.